Hi there. Today we'll be going over Crew, its main features, and how to navigate the app. Let's get started. First, here on the home page, you'll notice I have a few tiles at the top. On the left is Transfer. This is how, or one way that you can move money between pockets, and also how you can deposit money from your linked accounts. On the right, here's the Deposit button. This is for depositing a check, and also for depositing cash at store locations across the US. Here on this account tile, you'll notice that I've already made my first deposit into Crew and that I have the default pockets, checking, saving, and giving. If you click on this tile here, you can add additional pockets to set up your budget how you desire. Moving forward, here is the Cards tab. If you click in here, you can see your card for yourself, your partner, and any children, and also look at your virtual cards. And then here's our Smart Banking tile. This is where some of the powerful features of Crew come in. We have Autopilot that allows you to create rules to manage your money, and then Pocket Assignment, which helps save some of the hassle with Pocket Assignment. And then if you continue to scroll down, you have Recent Activity, where you can see all your transactions. Next is the Bonuses tab. This is where you're able to refer your friends to Crew and share your specific referral link. When you refer someone, you get an APY boost. This account I'm using here doesn't have one right now, but you can get a 0.5 APY bonus if you refer someone. Then over here is the Menu tab, where you can see your user profile, your bank account details like your account and routing number, statements and documents, linked bank accounts, month in review, which helps you see how you're using Crew, and then settings, and then contacting Crew if you ever need support. Then back to the Banking tab, let's go into setting up our first pocket. All right, now that we've done a tour of the app, let's go ahead and start by making our first pocket in Crew. First, we'll go to this Account tab, and you'll notice that I have the default pockets right now. This is what you start out with, but you can make as many pockets as you want, and we'll start by making our first one. Pockets essentially act as envelopes for your money. So similar to the cash envelope system, in Crew you can make pockets for all your spending needs. And then instead of spending from your checking account or your lump sum balance, you end up spending from your pockets directly. That helps keep track of spending and make sure that you're reaching your goals. So we're going to start by making one for groceries, for example. We can set an initial amount. I'll go ahead and pull $100, and that will pull just directly from the deposit I already made into checking. Goals are useful, for example, if you have a savings goal, maybe you're trying to save for a trip, but for groceries, I'm going to leave it blank for now. I'll go ahead and click Save, and now that the pocket's created, I have a few actions I can take. I can transfer in or out right here, create virtual cards and rules, and see all the activity on this pocket. I can also edit the pocket as needed. But let's go back and show you how it works to spend from pockets within Crew. So first, you'll notice that I have all the pockets here, and when I'm ready to spend, I'll go ahead and swipe right on the pocket I'm trying to spend from. And you'll notice that the card icon is next to the groceries pocket, as well as activated here where it says Active Pocket Groceries. So say I'm at Walmart, I'm ready to buy my groceries, I'll swipe right like I did, and now I'll pull directly from groceries. Once we've done that, you might be wondering, what happens if I try to spend more than $100? Well, the default setup within Crew is that the card will decline. This helps people to keep track of their budget and stay within the limits that they've set for themselves. For some people, though, that doesn't work as well, and so there's an option to turn on overspending, which allows you to spend more than the pocket balance, but less, of course, than your total balance within Crew. So to set that up, you'll go to Cards, click on your card, and toggle this on to allow overspending. So instead of declining like it would if you try to spend more than what's in the pocket, it will make the pocket value go below 0 and then pull from the rest of your account. I'll toggle that off for now, but that's an option that you might want. Once you create your first pocket, you're on your way to make many more, and so you can set up as many pockets as you need for all your needs within Crew. All right, now that we've made some pockets, it's time to use some of the autopilot features of Crew, which is where the magic of Crew really starts to happen. So before we do that though, I wanted to show you a feature of the app that helps you to keep your spending mindful. So take a look here, you'll notice I made some more pockets, but this is a little bit cluttered, and I especially don't want to see my savings here. So there's a toggle here, if you click where it says total balance in all pockets, you can actually decide which pockets you show and which ones you hide. So I'm going to go ahead and hide a few of these just so that those are out of the way. So now you'll see that I only have these 4 pockets here, the ones I'll be spending from, and my balance has changed. It's just another way to make sure that you're keeping track of what you want to keep track of and not spending from your savings. Okay, now it's time to move to Autopilot, which is one of the best ways to manage your money with Crew. So first, scroll down on the home page and go to the Autopilot tab. And before I get into this too detailed, I want to explain the basic theory behind how Autopilot works. So Autopilot works through triggers and actions. So if this, do that, or when this happens, do this. So just to show you the custom rule for a second, triggers can be anything like when a paycheck comes, when a card purchase happens, there's a change in balance, or even a scheduled day. And these are the actions you can take: transferring money, sweeping excess, or sending a notification. But let's go into one of the template ones so you can see how this works. We'll start by doing a split paycheck, and then we'll do a roundup rule. So let's go to split paycheck, click create, and here are some of the options we have. First, what pocket the paycheck will arrive in. Most paychecks will come to checking, so we'll just leave that there. And notice that we can decide if it's only from a specific sender. Say you only want it to run on your paycheck, not your spouse's. So I'll just keep that as it is, though. Maybe I want to run it on both. And then the deposit amount, you can change to have it be within a range. This is useful, for example, if you don't want it to run an autopilot rule on your bonus at the end of the year. But this all looks good to me, so I'm going to click next. And there's two ways to split your paycheck. There's by percent and by dollar amount. I'll show you both here. First is split by percent. So I can add a split here, and I can add, for example, a split to savings. Let's say I'm able to save 40%, so we'll do that. And you'll notice it's subtracted from the total, so I have 60% that will go to checking, 40% in savings. But you can keep adding splits. So let's put some in groceries, for example, and you can just keep going. I'll pause there, though, and I'll show you split by dollar amount. It's the same principle, but rather than doing the percent, you can decide how many dollars exactly you want to go in. For example, let's say I want to put $200 in savings, and we'll do $100 in groceries, and so on. Couple notes here. With the split by amount, you can decide on a surplus destination. So if you have extra left over, it will send that surplus to whatever pocket you select here. And then one other note is the staying within the goals. I mentioned this earlier on pockets, but pockets can have a goal. This is useful if you're saving for something or if you just like to keep your budget on track. So if you turn on this toggle, then when it transfers in the percent, if it goes over the goal amount, then it will just stop there and put the surplus in the source pocket, which would have been checking in this example. So that's something useful if you don't want to overfill your pockets. But anyways, I'm gonna go back to split by dollar amount. This all looks good, and note that it's telling me that it will be 300 in transfers. And so once again, just double check that that amount is less than what your expected paycheck will be. Click next. You can name the rule and go ahead and click save. And that will run anytime a paycheck comes in, as we mentioned. So let's go ahead and go to the next rule, which would be round up purchases. That's another one of our templates, so click new rule again, scroll down, go to round up purchases. And this is a really helpful one. We spend a lot, and so it'd be nice every time you spend that it rounds up and sends a difference to savings. So you can decide which card it's on. I'll just keep it on one of the cards right now, but you could add it to your spouse's card as well. And you can also set an amount over limit. So say you only want to go over bigger purchases, you can do that. Oh, and I should mention, you can decide if it's a specific merchant, but if not, go ahead and click next. And you can round up to the nearest $1, $5, or $10. We'll just do 1, send the difference to savings, and go ahead and click next. Once again, you can add another action, and you can save your rule. So once you set up some rules, you're well on your way to managing your money the way that you've always wanted to. All right, let's take a moment to talk about cards and Crew. When you first sign up for Crew, you'll be sent a card that you can use in store locations and online. But here at Crew, we also offer virtual cards that extend the ability of your card. So let me go into some examples. Here in the app, as you scroll down to cards, you can click on cards and you'll see your spouse's cards, any children's cards. But you'll also notice the tab for virtual cards. Well, what is a virtual card? A virtual card is another version of your card, but it has a different card number, CVC, and expiration. It gives you more control over your card, especially with the Crew app, and allows you to make different cards tied to different pockets, different cards with different limits, etc. So let's go into some examples. One great use of a virtual card here in Crew is this 24-hour card. Like it says here, it's great for free trials. I don't know about you, but sometimes I sign up for a free trial and I forget to cancel. but they already have my card number, and so they can charge me. And that's always a bad experience. But with this option, the card that I create and then give to the subscription will deactivate after 24 hours. So after 7 or 30 days, when they go to charge me, they won't be able to. So let me show you how to set that up. You'll click 24-hour card. I'm going to name it free trial. You can decide which pocket it matches to. Maybe you have a subscriptions pocket, but I'll just have it matched to checking. And like it says here, it will auto cancel in 24 hours. Once I click save, that card will be generated with the new card number, and that's the card number that I would provide. Then, like I said, once they go to charge it, it will have already expired after 24 hours, and the transaction should not go through. So that's just one example of how you can use a virtual card. Just to show you some more functionality, let's do a custom virtual card now. Let's call this, maybe this is my internet bill, but sometimes internet prices rise, and so maybe I want to put a monthly limit on it. So first I'll select my pocket. Let's do checking, advanced, monthly limit is what we'll want to select. And let's say my internet is $100 a month, and so I don't want them to charge more than $100. Now, once I set this monthly limit, I'll set it to not cancel. If they try to charge me over $100 in a month, it will decline them. And then I'll be able to know that my internet has raised my bill. So this is just another way to have more control in Crew. And right here on this tab, you can see your virtual cards and your physical cards. So you can create many virtual cards and you can use them for all of your needs within Crew.